Hello and welcome to the Untitled Gaming Podcast. Thank you for coming back for another week for another podcast. I think we're going to start doing these things on Saturdays now because I feel like a lot is happening and I just want to get these. And I think I kind of like want to spend the whole day just working on it. We'll see how next week works when the Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer is out and we're playing that all night. And everything. But anyways, thank you for joining the podcast this week and everything. We have a good show for you today. Hopefully, will depends on what we do and everything. But if you haven't heard already, this is the Untitled Gaming Podcast. This is where my name is Ricky. I provide a weekly podcast where we talk about just stuff that's been going on in the gaming world and all that stuff. And we have a couple things going on right now. If you can hear this podcast, I think now starting every Saturday. And for all that stuff, when you can catch it you can catch it here on YouTube and then audio services such as Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, name a few. And of course Amazon Music, or they and everything. So let's just get right into it. I hope everyone's having an amazing week. Hope they've been enjoying the games they've been playing and everything. To start off, we're going to start off with this. So currently right now, we have a big convention happening right now, which is BlizzCon. It is the first in-person one in 4 years, if I heard correctly. Now you're probably asking yourself, like, Ricky, are you a BlizzCon fan? Blizzard fan? Well, here's the thing. Out of the games that are known within Blizzard, one of them that I frequently play is Overwatch. So Overwatch 2. So I have somewhat of a thing there. But after watching the whole opening ceremonies, there's some very interesting stuff that I like to see. I did dabble in Diablo 4 earlier in the year, and I do want to get back into that actually. So I'm excited for the new expansion that's coming out for Diablo and everything. The new updates and items that are happening. I still somewhat don't understand what's going on, but I'm hopefully I'll hop back into it and everything, but we'll see all that stuff because we have a lot of stuff happening. So already for Overwatch, we got a new hero coming out soon. Maugua, I can't say the name right probably, but he's pretty much, in my opinion, he looks like Maui from Moana and everything with Gatling guns, and it's very funny in my opinion. He is going to be a tank. He's coming out, I believe it's next season, but by the time when this episode is out and everything, he's actually available for the weekend for people to try out. I got to try him out for a little bit and everything. He seems a little interesting. I want to play him more, but the darn the tank role. Well, I probably could have done open queue, but I'm so used to playing role queue now on quick play. The tank role is literally a 5-minute wait, so the wait times just feel longer than that and everything. But he's been interesting so far to play. Hopefully I get to play him a little bit more during the weekend because it's only just for the weekend, and then he'll be available for the next season. But I'm interested with that. We got 2 new heroes coming out in 2024, and they're gonna do. There's a deep dive. I think that just ended by the time this episode is out. By the time I'm recording this right now, and I don't know much about them, but I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm actually gonna watch that, check that out. I'll actually probably do like a watch along video and post it up on YouTube just to understand it, just check it out more and everything, and post it here. So we'll see what happens. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel, so that way if you want to check that out yourself, we'll have that going right now. Well, and everything, because I'm trying to upload. I just haven't found the time. There's been so much going on for that because now I have. So I'm trying to stream more and everything. You can, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see the Twitch logo where I'm streaming, and I have access to stream on TikTok now and everything. I have it on a 7-day trial. I think I have access to it if I get if I hit a certain goal, which doesn't look that hard to do. thankfully. And so we're doing that. We're trying to do multi-streaming on YouTube and Twitch and everything. We've been trying that out a couple times already. We did it for Alan Wake 2, if I remember correctly, which we'll be actually talking about. I think we did it. We tried to do it for the finals open beta, but and everything, and that one was a surprising one to see. But it hasn't been that crazy since then, since we've been doing it. Probably gonna try to do it again during Modern Warfare 3, just like the first day. The plan is to try to do it like just for like releases on big releases, and then we'll go from there just to see what happens. We'll probably do exclusive YouTube streams soon, particularly for certain stuff we don't know yet. But well, keep an eye on that if you happen to be on the YouTube channel and everything. But back to BlizzCon. So Diablo has an expansion. They have some other things coming out pretty soon that looked interesting. Just a lot of stuff I just don't understand it. So once I finally jump back in the game, hopefully I'll be able to understand it a bit more. I know they're doing a deep dive also, and I'm probably gonna check that out too more. So for all that stuff. Other than that, it's not much really. It's not much. All that stuff, but I think the other thing was Warcraft. There's a mobile game. It's a very Clash Royale, with some with a little bit more PVE to it, a little more PVE into it. There is PvP also with and all that stuff, but I've actually been playing it and it's pretty fun and all that stuff. If you like Clash Royale and if you're a Warcraft fan, I think you'll actually like it if you're into mobile game, if you're into that stuff. For that stuff, I'm gonna keep playing it for a bit, see how much I enjoy it and everything since it's just came out. And other than that, and then of course World of Warcraft. For those who don't know, that was I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed watching it, though I do not play World of Warcraft. For what they present it and everything. And then I think his name is Chris Molson, if I said the last name correctly. He runs the pretty much the storytelling of World of Warcraft and the Warcraft universe, as they said. And he retired, but he recently came back to Blizzard not that long ago. And just when he was speaking, his section of that whole presentation was so moving and so inspiring about because he loves Warcraft like everyone else does in that building. And for me that doesn't play World of Warcraft, I was like, hey, why am I like feeling this like and everything like that. But so well, the one thing that they announced was pretty interesting, and I thought it was going to be something I found not concerning, but something that's like, I wonder if this is going to work. Normally, when they announce like their expansions, it's just the one expansion. They announced 3, and I was like, interesting, because it's part of a saga, and I already forgot the name of the saga, which is going to piss me off, and I'm sorry about that. But so there's going to be 3 expansion that comes out and everything for World of Warcraft throughout the next several years. I want to say maybe like I'm gonna say 5 to 10 just to be safe and all that stuff. But I'm just like, this. It's a very interesting way of how they're doing this for that stuff. So and everything. So the saga, if I find it right now, and all that stuff, is the World Soul Saga. And the 3 expansions that are coming out will be The War Within, Midnight, and The Last Titan. For that. So those are going to be coming out, and all that begins next year in 2024 with The War Within. And we'll see where the next 2 expansions release between now and whatever. And all for that stuff to make it all interesting. In particularly and all stuff, which is pretty cool. And all stuff. I mean, it's pretty cool that they're actually like future announcing what the future is going to look like as it's in a particular saga. And I'm very interested in seeing of how this will work, because it's similar to what Bungie did with finishing out their sagas. and all that stuff. Figuring out the light and darkness thing with that started because I think they started with when they announced it because they have the Witch Queen, Lightfall, which is right now, and then the Final Shape, which is next year now. Well, it was always set for next year and all stuff. And then I know there's an issue with that, but we're not going to talk about that and everything. But I'm comparing it to that and all that stuff. And so far on the Bungie side, and all that stuff, it's not working. This one, hopefully, it does. They've watched from that. They watched that and see what happened and learned what's going to happen from that, and then hopefully they do better. Because most likely, in between the expansions, there's going to be content that comes out between now and then. Between each expansion, hopefully that content will last long and makes it good. But I'm probably like a little rambling on that. But no, watching the opening ceremonies has been fun. I've always been interested in Blizzard as a company and all that stuff since they've made the opening ceremony something to watch. They've had their down ones. They've had some decent, cool, interesting ones, and all that stuff. But seeing this one was pretty cool. Seeing this one was actually pretty cool, especially this one being the first BlizzCon and opening ceremony now that it's under Microsoft. So hopefully what we'll see there of what happens because of course, for those who don't know, not only does Microsoft now owns Blizzard and everything. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do now and how the company will be run under them, I think it's an exciting time for them. I think this is going to be a good thing for Blizzard to me and everything. But other than that, let's get on to some other things. So as we could talk about, I've been playing a game recently that is very, very interesting. It's a game I normally don't play, and it's based off the genre of what it is. But so far, it's been very, very interesting. And that game is Alan Wake 2. Now, as of now, as of recording this, I have not completed the game. I'm still in it. I can't even tell how far I'm in. I'm just based on it. Because the thing about horror, and especially survival horror games in particularly and all that stuff, like, I have a hard time. The jump scares and everything get to me and everything. And I take my time because my anxiousness is like a little weird for these kind of games and crazy. And I'm like being patient enough as possible to complete them and everything, to try to play them and all stuff. But I always end up, I guess you can say, chickening out at the same time. But for Alan Wake 2, the only reason why I'm into it so far, I'm still playing it, is because I'm actually enjoying the story so much. So it's like, oh my God, like this is very interesting, and the very different aspects of how the game plays and what you have to do to get through them to get to play is very, very interesting. And the one thing about it too is just more the fact because the developer of the game, Remedy Entertainment, if you don't know who they are, they've made games such as the first two Max Payne games. If you're not familiar with those games, if you're an Xbox fan, you've probably played something called Quantum Break. They were the ones that made that. And then if you want to look for something more within in the last 5 years, as per se, 3 to 5 years, they've also done Control. And I loved that game so much for the what the story was and what's presented there with all the I don't want to call it like timey-wimey kind of things, but it was very, very interesting. It was a very interesting game, and I'm very excited. And what's actually cool about Alan Wake 2 is that and Control are now in this somewhat of, you can say, a connected universe of sorts. And I've already seen like the little parts of where there's Control Easter eggs in this game and all stuff, and what's connected so far and everything. So it's very exciting to me and all that stuff. So, but even though it's there are moments that scare the crap out of me, I'm still loving the game and also because of what the story is bringing to me so far, and I love every minute of it. Now, there's been recently a discussion of the fact of, is this a Game of the Year contender with so far with other games that's been out so far, like Starfield, Baldur's Gate, Spider-Man 2, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and many other games that have been come out this year too. And I think it is a contender so far, in my opinion, for what I've played so far. And I'm very interested in seeing when we get to the Game Awards nomination special in particularly. I'm very interested in seeing what the what gets nominated for their categories, especially for Game of the Year, because it's going to be a it's a stack list already, and shrinking that down to six. It is I'm very so interested in seeing the discussion of when those nominees or those six nominations are announced, and the people talking about it and all stuff. Whoever wins, I think for me in particularly, like whoever wins is fine, because I think every single title that so far that I've played and all stuff out of the contenders are worthy of winning this no matter what and everything. But at the same time, I'm very interested of seeing everyone else talking about the nomination itself, and we're going to talk about it myself too, once those come out and everything in a future podcast episode. But right now, it's just like after playing Alan Wake 2, right now so far for what I've played, I can see this being a contender and all that stuff. Now, is it my personal game of the year so far? It's getting there right now. I'm not gonna lie. So far, I give mines right now. I'm giving mines to Starfield, though I haven't finished it and everything. And then I have I have three other games that I have under my contender that I haven't finished yet myself. That is Tears of the Kingdom, Jedi Survivor, Hogwarts Legacy are also my the games I haven't finished yet, because it's been so many games that have been come out and all that stuff. And of course, I also, not only do I have those games, I also have the live service games that I play: Fortnite, Warzone, Apex. Now Apex is coming back, and then now Overwatch 2 and everything. So it's like I'm playing those on a rotation as much when I try to get into these games here and all that stuff, and then playing what else is there that's out there right now too and everything. So still have to play. There's like a couple games that just released on Game Pass. One's called I think it's Jusant. I can't say the name correctly. If I'm saying it wrong, apologies. And I want to play that. It deals with like something with rock climbing, but it looks really nice. I just want to look at it. I just want to play it just to see just because of the way it looks and everything. And then there's another game that's called Cocoon. It's a very smaller title, and and everything, but the art style of it is very interesting, and I want to get through that too and everything. But back to Alan Wake, the it is the way it looks is very amazing. Playing it, or if I'm playing it within my office section, or playing it on my TV, no matter what, it looks beautiful. And I'm like, wow, on everything. And then there's been some like very interesting like scenes when you're walking, and then and then so far right now it's been some of it's how it blends in with a video game and like real world television scenes. It looks really interesting, cool. And also, like I said, if you're a fan of Quantum Break, even and it's under the same developer, you're gonna enjoy this too. I believe, in my opinion, for this. And I'm just like, where is this gonna go? So far, like, where is this gonna go? Because I'm like itching. I'm like itching to play more, but I've been like trying to get through other stuff right now and everything. And all stuff, like I haven't played it in the last couple of days. I haven't played it today as we're recording this. I played a little bit, and everything the last couple of days. I haven't played a lot in the last couple of days, and I really want to get back into it. And I know probably gonna play. I'm probably gonna play some night after this. I don't know yet, because I do want to play some Fortnite because of the OG map. I have my thoughts on that, but I probably won't talk about that now. I think I'm gonna talk about that after the season and everything. But that's neither here or there right now. So, but yeah, No, actually, no. That's actually being. Well, actually, no. That's a actually good transition right there to talk about before I end this because I'm having a good time with Alan Wake 2. I want to play more, and I'm very excited to where it goes, but also at the same time and everything. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, going back into transitioning into Fortnite. So the map is out. We're back on the OG map. The interesting thing about this, and I'm sure people have noticed it who are playing the game, and I'm sure there's like people are, but it hasn't been this. I'm not gonna. I don't want to say it's like been discussed, but it's been more of like, I wonder what people are, how people feel about this, and what's gonna happen. So the few things about uh as they say, it's Fortnite Chapter 4 Season OG, meaning, and it's for those, and it's because of the fact it's the older map and everything. The map in particular itself, it's doesn't begin with like at the beginning of Fortnite, like Season 0. It actually starts on the map. The map starts from where it was, how it looked from Chapter 1, Season 5, which is very interesting and everything. And then the one thing about it, like if for those who, and maybe whoever listens to this and that understands the lore more and all that stuff than I do, because I do kind of like follow the story a bit and everything. The way it goes from, it went from Thursday, which was Chapter 4, Season 4 or 3, I forget. And it goes into this new part of, and then everything, or season, as they say, as I put quotations on, and all that stuff. There's no, I guess you could say, explanation of what led to it. Pretty much, like story wise, if you look at it so far, there is this thing about a villain. There's a villain who's been time traveling, collecting their things and all that stuff, and there's supposed to be like a heist to, in order to figure out what he's, to figure out his plan to, in order to, and all that stuff. But there's not much that leads up into what led us going into the old map and everything. Now, in the games I've played so far, and if you follow like Fortnite, the Fortnite League accounts and all that stuff, you do see remnants of the time machine from chapter season from the last season that are in the map and everything. And then there's a voice recording that, and all that stuff. And there seems to be more going on that leads into to this month, because that's the other thing about this. We're playing this old map for a month and everything. If you go to on the battle pass section, there normally it tells you when the battle pass ends, and that says it ends it on December 2nd and everything. And then what they've explained also in a blog post for this is that for how it works is you're gonna start on Chapter 1, Season 5, and it looks like each week there'll be an update, and it'll update it to this following seasons after 5. So the first one we're starting on Season 5. The next one is Season 6. After that, it's going to be Season 7 and 8. And then after that, it's going to be Season 9 and 10. So it's like we're reminiscing about the last chapters of Chapter 1, the last seasons of Chapter 1. And so everything is coming in all at once, in a way, and all that stuff. And apparently it's supposed to lead up to the ending of how Chapter 1 ended, but now for this. Which again, I'm still trying to figure out how this. My thing is how it came from where we were on from that Thursday, the last day of that season, to where we are now into the old map. Like that's my only thing. I haven't looked it up yet, because that's been the question in my mind so far. But hopefully I'll end up doing research and figuring that out, and hopefully some Fortnite lore people will find that more. However, going into this map, playing this map again, I was more interested than I was excited and everything, because of course, if you've paid attention to this leading up to this, it's been heavily liked. I don't want to say rumored, but it's been speculated like, oh, we're gonna play the OG map and everything, the Chapter 1 map. And though it's been something that's always been talked about for like the last, I don't know how long, but it's been a long time. And for particularly like it's been coming like more real and real throughout the last month or so, especially with the season that just recently went through. So it's just been more coming into this. It's been more for me. It has been more interesting than it has been more of like being excited. A couple of things which and then so far I've already experienced so far was like how will this play in no zero build? Are people actually going to come back to this now that it is going to be the chapter 1 map? Are we seeing older guns come back, or are we going to stick with the newer ones, or what are these? What are pretty much the changes? What are these changes that are coming into this playing this map again, pretty much, and everything? And so far, it's been out of the games I've played. I'm cool. It's nice to see this and everything, and and all that stuff. It's nice to play this map again. How I will say, I do play zero build more now. It's tough because there's so much high stuff to there's stuff to you have to get up to and everything. Like playing playing in playing Tilted Towers is totally different zero build now for some weird reason. Though it's like I think for me in particularly because like yeah, uh, Tilted Towers was in the chapter 3 map, but most of the time I avoided Tilted Towers and everything and everything, and that's probably gonna be the same thing with this map playing back like because we went to Tilted and everything, and I was like, yeah, this still feels the same and everything. It's like this is gonna be a lot to deal. It's gonna be the same. Like back in chapter 3, it's like I'm probably gonna be avoiding this. Like I'm not gonna go there. I'm probably avoiding this and all that stuff. And then and the loot pool is very OG. There's not a lot of I don't want to say a lot of non-movement items, but the loot pool right now is very OG loot pool, which is of course where it's supposed to go. But I'm like movement's gonna be weird. Hopefully there's gonna be changes throughout. I mean, there's gonna be more items added throughout the month, and but for me, it's just like okay, we'll see where this goes. And then there's like, particularly when you play zero build though, there are zip lines now placed in certain areas to get you to certain spots, which is cool and all stuff, but it looks weird at the same time for me at least. And that's just probably me just getting back into playing it. I know I'm probably gonna play some more because I do want to do run solo ranked now that it's in zero build. I think it's still there and all stuff. I found out towards like the end of the last season that they brought it back, and I'm like, what? Um, but it's been interesting. Now that everyone come back, as of recording this episode, I found out that there is now a concurrent of 6 million players playing this right now and everything. So it's cool because a lot of people came back to this and everything. And then now from how I see it, and I'm just like, I guess you can say it's me being critical of like, where does this lead into getting if these people are going to stay once the next because most likely it's a new chapter 5 is like, are they going to stay when chapter 5 comes and everything and all that stuff, or is that player count going to stay throughout this month and into the next chapter, or where is it going to drop and everything? Because it's like, if you look at it if you're a person that watched people who are on Twitch and everything like that, a lot of people that were on Twitch, big streamers that were playing this a lot and everything like that played it a lot during chapter 1 days, and then dropped after that during like from chapter 2 to chapter 4 and everything. They're all coming back and everything. Like reason is, yeah, it's the chapter 1 map, but are they going to come back once this season, once chapter 5 begins? And then of course it's like some of these people, they've transitioned to other games like Call of Duty or other things and all that stuff, and then Call of Duty multiplayer is coming out coming up pretty soon. And then like how there's gonna be a lot of shift into that on a streamer's perspective and all that stuff and everything like that. And then again, it's like regular people, are they gonna come in and go? Are they gonna bounce once chapter 5 starts and everything like that? Because it's not, everyone knows it's not gonna be the same and everything. It's gonna be a totally different map. But then again, like who knows what's gonna happen once we get chapter 5? Like what's gonna happen is like, is the OG map gonna continue on with a different and everything, but different spot? All the stuff is gonna be different, or I don't know. It's very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, because I plan on keeping playing it more. I am gonna probably play it more and more because it is the OG map. I have friends that used to play with from the OG map, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna be playing this again soon and all that stuff. But I'm just more like, what's gonna happen? What are we gonna do? How's this all gonna play out and everything? But we'll see. We'll see and everything. But I don't know. It's a very interesting thing. I'm not downplaying the fact that having the OG map is cool and all that stuff. I'm just like, you have the player count. That player count is high, and everything like that. And that people that seen that, or that are seeing that high count, is like, I don't want to say it's causing things, but it's like right now I'm like, from the Call of Duty Warzone side of things, I'm like, people that have played the OG map and are back on seeing this, like, I guess you can say revival, as I'm putting quotations on it. People are already asking, like, should Call of Duty bring back Verdansk and everything like that? And don't get me wrong, Caldera was not a good map. Al Mazrah, though, it's not a bad map. It just didn't have the movement and all that stuff that was in Warzone originally and everything. So, and then we don't know what the new from what we know, we don't, like, there's not much about the new map that's coming out in December, Yurkistan and all that stuff. We're going off just what people are saying, from what the content creators are saying from the COD Next event and everything. And because me myself, I have not played the new map. From what I see is interesting, but what I haven't, since I haven't played it myself, I can't put my stamp on it of what it's going to be and everything. I think Almazra was fine if it had the movement and everything for it and stuff, and a few other things, but the fact that if people are like saying, like, since the OG people are coming back to the OG map, should Call of Duty bring back Verdansk? And I'm like, do you think they would bring it back for a full year or just for like a certain thing? I mean, here's the thing. They are bringing back Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep to Warzone for Resurgence maps and everything like that. And I'm happy for those. I don't get me wrong. I think Vondel is a good Resurgence map, or just a Battle Royale map in general and everything like that within the play count. Ashika, I always felt more of a DMZ map, in my opinion. Ooh, excuse me. But that's just how I feel. And I don't know, it's just like hearing the thing about Verdansk hearing that thing about, since they brought back the OG map at Fortnite, it's only fair like, you would think it would be the thing for they should just have Call of Duty should just bring back Verdansk and all that stuff. But I'm just like, we'll see and all that stuff. It's just like, it's just gonna be weird, and all that stuff. But then that questions is about certain things and all that stuff. And like, if you're looking from a story perspective, but that's neither here or there and all that stuff. But speaking of story, that leads into our big discussion, big topic. No, I wouldn't say big topic, but the Call of Duty campaign has been out for those who pre-ordered Modern Warfare 3 digitally. Just to bring clarification to that, early access to the campaign if you pre-ordered Modern Warfare 3 digitally and all that stuff. So it's out, it's here. I guess you can say there's a lot to talk about it. I guess. I will just to bring a little story time into this and to know about where how I feel about it going into it on this campaign. So the campaign released to early access people on Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I work. I have a job. My 9 to 5 is happening and all that stuff. So I wasn't gonna play it till later, like at night and all that stuff, because I had other things to do after work too, unfortunately. So my thing is I am gonna end up seeing reactions to this and all that stuff. And I kid you not, by the time it hit 1:32, between 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm already seeing like this is I'm done with the campaign. And I'm like, what? And everything. Like, when I saw that, my reaction is, why are you playing this thing so quickly? And all that stuff. Because that's like, I don't, and everything. But it got weirder after that. And all that stuff. And they're saying about, that's when the top discussions about, like, it's too quick. People are giving review scores on Twitter. And yeah, I know it's Twitter, but still, it's just what I'm seeing. And all that stuff. And I'm just going by what I'm seeing. Like, people are giving it a 5 and a 6 and everything like that. And I'm just like, what? Like, I guess people weren't liking the open aspect of the missions and all that stuff. I'm forgetting the actual title of what they called it in on what Sledgehammer called it in particularly, but no, it was just bad. It was just like, it sounded like it was bad, and then all this stuff. And then, like, I'm seeing, like, I got a couple of, like, people who were like, oh, this is actually, like, actually, this is actually pretty cool and everything like that. Oh, and like, are actually liking it. So I'm just like, okay, is this going to be like another mixed bag, or is this going to be overall bad and all that stuff and everything? Because, like, my thing about campaigns, Call of Duty campaigns in particularly, I don't want to say I don't take them seriously and all that stuff, but it's more the fact of, like, it's popcorn. It's popcorn material in my friends. Like, you go in, you enjoy what is there, you get out. Hopefully, the story is somewhat decent and all that stuff, and then you're out and all that stuff, and you move on and all that stuff. Well, that's at least for me how I always looked at it, especially recently and all that stuff. Because and for me particularly, my early days of Call of Duty was always just mainly the campaign and all that stuff. Multiplayer wasn't a thing. Now for me and all that stuff, I focus on everything within Call of Duty as a perch when I go into as a thing now and all that stuff, because I am fully I'm not saying devoted, but it's more I play it more longer than I do now for that stuff in particularly. So I was like, you know what? Once it comes, so like people are like saying it's 3 to 4 hours, it's and all that stuff. The stuff's it's not good, and all the missions are not that good and everything like that. And so I was like, okay. So I'm like, okay, once I get home, play it, we'll see what happens and all that stuff. And so I get on, I stream it on Twitch and everything. I was gonna put it. I'm still debating if I'm gonna put it up as a YouTube video, and I'm probably gonna do the whole thing as is, because I got it done within 5 hours. I want to say, if not under, if not a little over, most over 5 hours, a little over 5 hours in particularly, and everything. And for me in particularly, I, oof. It was I was after I got done, I was like literally like, am I judging this too seriously? Am I taking this too lightly? I'm like, like, what did I get through this? And so I was like, let me sleep this over, think this, go through this and everything like that and everything. And this is Thursday night, early Sunday or early Friday morning. So I had to go to sleep, go into work and all that stuff, and then like think this through and all stuff. So it's like, so then Friday comes, and that's when everything got. From what I'm observing, is like, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous, in a way. IGN posts. Ooh, I already said their name. Oh well. IGN posts their campaign review, and I'm saying that specifically that this is a review for the campaign only on all stuff, to let everyone know this is the campaign review, and they give it a 4. Now that's where I was like, okay, now I think this is getting a little out of hand now, because now it's like everyone else is like kind of attacking the review in a way. But even though I don't pay attention to IGN as much as I used to back in the day, I did a lot back in the day. I don't now. But I see if something pops up from them that I see, and I'm gonna look at it because I just want to know and everything, no matter what. Because it's like you want to pay attention to every. I try to pay attention to anything as much as possible to understand of where it's coming from and whether if I agree with it or not and all that stuff. But the fact that you're giving this to me, the fact of giving it a 4 is like what? Because it doesn't make sense. Because it's like, and I read the small thing. I read some of the things about it of what they provided it, and it's like, and though it's like some of the stuff is like from what I've seen from other people I follow on Twitter from the call, because Thursday, here's how it worked. Thursday was the Call of Duty community talking about it. Friday was like the overall of everyone else talking about it, like the overall gaming side of it talking about it and all that stuff. And then it's like, I was like, I'm thinking this through. I'm grabbing all these notes from I'm writing, because I'm figuring out what to say, because of what I've experienced and all that stuff myself and everything. And like, I come out of it thinking of it more. It was like, I honestly had a good time with it and everything like that. Now, if you watch me if you watch me look, if it looks like I'm like, I didn't. I'm just tired, because I was like, I was getting tired. I was just tired in general, and all that stuff. Like but I had moments where I was like, okay, cool, and everything like that, and all that stuff. Now it's like to provide like a little more concept and everything. So like the open mission sequences and all that stuff. It's a section of an area and all that stuff, and you have to go from point A to point B to do certain steps and all that stuff. And the one thing about it, which was interesting, is that though they make it sound like you have to sneak in to do certain things, you really don't, and all that stuff. You can actually like do the hiding spectre, and you take that as an advantage of sorts to do certain things. Like one mission I think it was like the first open mission. I kind of want to like try to sneak of much as I can to get to a certain spot, and then the rest of it was more of like, okay, guns blazing, cover up, so that way they don't find me. Come back, and then I get to a high point to go to one spot to clear out a spot, and I'm sniping every spot and everything to take out these people to get to the certain spot I need to get to. And everything did the same. I don't know, and then mostly everything else was pretty much easy and all that stuff. One thing about it, there's a couple of things that I was like, I've heard about. Is like, these are like maps pulled from Warzone and all that stuff. Technically, and all that stuff. Here's the thing about some of the stuff, and everything. There's probably like maybe two or three of them that are kind of unrelated to to bring into perspective, the common maps they're talking about is going to be from the new map, and then of course Verdansk. Here's the thing. I think I'm fine with it, but some of those areas don't relate to the overall Warzone map in general, and all that stuff and everything. Though they say of where it is located in the same place of that said Warzone map, doesn't mean it wasn't. You can tell this isn't going to be on the Warzone map itself, but I could be wrong and all that stuff. Yerkazan, I think Yerkazan is the perfect example because I don't know the whole map and everything, and I've seen it, I've looked at it, I've seen pictures on certain things, but what's in there doesn't seem like it's there. It's gonna be in the full Warzone map, but I could be wrong on all stuff. For Dansk, that's a whole other story, and particularly all that stuff. And then there's like, I guess you can say somewhat story elements to that into certain positions if you pay attention to that stuff, and if you know how we went from Verdansk to Verdansk in the past and then to Caldera. If you understand of what happened there, I have a little idea of that, which is probably unrelated and all that stuff. So it's like, and which is probably doesn't make sense, but someone does it maybe at the same time. But it's like no big deal. But I don't care. I didn't trip about it. I didn't trip about the open world stuff as much because I took of it as more of creativity and figuring out what's that. I will say you can say that there was somewhat of a lackluster of enemies and everything like that, but it is the point A to point B. Now the other thing about it is like people are talking about, or that this feels like spec op missions more and all that stuff. I can agree with that to a degree, but here's the thing where I was like, I'm actually fine with this at the same time too. Spec Ops, the closest thing I've touched to Spec Op is Modern Warfare 2 2022 missions and all that stuff. I think I've played them on the older ones. I don't remember as much. But the thing is, for the Modern Warfare 2022 ones, the Modern Warfare 2 that came out in 2022, for those ones in particularly, and all that stuff, and especially for the fact because I actually wanted to do the raids just for the heck of them because it was their aspect of it and all of what raids are like, not the fact of like, and I because this is a raid of what Call of Duty is going to do. I'm not going to compare these to raids of other games and all that stuff. The way when they talk about it, it's like you want to play spec. They always said you want to play Spec Ops in order to get ready for the raid. So I'm like, maybe I can jump in a raid alone and try to do stuff just to get the stuff going. You can't unless they changed it since then. But from what I remember, you couldn't do Spec Ops solos and all that stuff. When you get in, it will match make you with someone else and all that stuff. And I was like, nah, I kind of want to just do this on my own and just like get a feel for it and all that stuff and everything. Never happened and all that stuff. Now I could be wrong and I can check that later if I want to, and everything. But from what I remember, I couldn't do that solo and everything like that. So I was like, ugh, that sucks. Because I would love to experience playing Spec Ops as a solo player more and everything like that. And I kind of got that with this and everything. So I was like, okay, cool. And all that stuff. I mean, got through it and everything like that. I was like, it was cool. Story wise, it's not bad and all that stuff. It continues off of what happened in Modern Warfare 2, especially if you go through the raid missions and all that stuff. If you pay attention to, if you've been paying attention to the story, and I mean the overall arcing story from Modern Warfare 2019 to now, including Cold War and Vanguard and all that stuff on the campaign side of things, there's some tidbits in there that's like, okay, this makes sense and all that stuff for what it is and everything like that and everything. Like there's I feel like there's certain things you learn from the story, and it's like, okay, why is this happening and all that stuff and everything. I will say how it ends. I'm not disappointed, but I'm hoping is like I was hoping there would be more to it and everything like that, especially for the cut scene and all that stuff. But it was like there's a mid credit scene for those who don't know, and people will know that figure that out too and everything. But though everyone's been saying that already, it's like, oh, there's a mid credit scene, so it's like, okay, and all that stuff. Like it's like I know why it happened, but at the same time, it feels like it's like, why would you do this to not provide more context a bit at least? But it's at the but again, it's like it was an okay. It was always sorry. It continues on from what it is. It looks like we'll probably see more for after what happens. Hopefully, depending on how the course of Call of Duty in general, of how the games are released now, we'll see how that looks in the future. And all that stuff. Especially if this speculate rumor, I guess we can call it for right now, of how the next two Call of Duties are within the Black Ops are on the Black Ops side of things and within Treyarch and all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But I was like, I had a good time with it and all that stuff. At the end of the day, I think I can look when I look back at it and seeing everything. It's like I had a good time. Like I would 7, low 8 is a good range for that, in my opinion. But also, I can understand if people giving it a 6 or a 5 and everything. I can understand that, and and I can be totally fine with that. But I think it's more of the fact of like, for me in particular, I did have a good time. I enjoyed it and all that stuff. And I like at the end of the day, it's a Call of Duty campaign and all that stuff. And most campaigns in Call of Duty can provide a good story and all that stuff. But it's just more they try to do something different. Obviously, it's like there can be more to it within the open level aspect of things. And maybe who knows, they'll probably do this in the future. There's probably an idea of maybe this probably happens in a future campaign, but hopefully they'll do more with it. Like in all honesty, it's like maybe I wouldn't be surprised if next year's Call of Duty, which is should be under Treyarch, goes back to a more linear aspect, and that's totally fine. I'm not gonna think of it. I'm not gonna think of this as like, oh, they decided to go back because the open world suck. Well, no, because you can't say that for the fact is that that game has already been in development for a while. So maybe they already went to the idea of let's just do let's just go with the linear side of things and just keep this going as for how we do it, and that's totally fine and all that stuff. Like me, I'm not when if I find out that next year's Call of Duty is more linear, I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine and everything. They've been working on this game for the last couple years since Cold War. Makes only sense that they do it like that. Or they probably were like, you know what, we're gonna do maybe one or two missions that are like that. But during that process of working on that open level mission, they probably decided like we'll add in some more different things and all that stuff. And I don't know, but I feel like this is a this they went somewhere different with it. The story was fine. Hopefully, hopefully they see this stuff and seeing what they saw. It's like there was because like there wasn't much you can do, but though it's like it's because it is the A and B. It's just to A to B mission objective and all that stuff to it. There isn't no, I guess you could say, side parts to certain things and all that stuff because you never know of what you can find and everything. Because like you can there can be a part where it's like you have the main objective itself and then you have some side stuff and everything and all that stuff. It doesn't present that and all that stuff. You don't the this and everything like that. So I always thought I was like there's like somewhat explanations to it. Like I heard that the fact that it's like there's a point of like you have to there's these when it comes to the Warzone aspect that they brought from Warzone, like because there's a couple crates, there's like a loadout box that in there and all that stuff. In the very first mission, it explains of these crates and everything like that. These caches, they call them supply caches, they're where you can grab stuff and do grab certain things. And throughout the game, you can change it if you want to. So it's like that's enough. That's an understandable reason to it for it and everything. So it's like okay, cool. But again, it's like, and I paid no. I see it there, and I maybe change like a few things, and that's it. That's fine because the guns I find within the supply boxes are guns I'll probably use at the same time. I'm not gonna be like, oh, why is this here? And I'm like, no, I'm like, take this to advantage. Like, learn, see where you can implement it in a way. If there's a way, you can. If not, oh well. At least you know you have it there to do certain things. And maybe that's more the fact of like, there's not much. Maybe there's not much you to do to use. There's no more incentive in a way to make you go back to them or use them and all that stuff. Well, I was like, and all that stuff, but it is what it is and all that stuff. Now, the other thing about it is like, and people are like, there's some people that are saying I paid $70 for this. I'm like, well, technically no, you didn't pay $70 just for a campaign for a 3 to 4 hour campaign. You paid $70 for that, the multiplayer, and a zombies mode, and all that stuff, and I think a majority of Call of Duty players that play this bother with a mixture of those three things and all that stuff. But it's just, I think it's just fine. Like I said, the campaign's fine. I'm gonna be playing the multiplayer once that is released. I'm gonna dabble in zombies and all that stuff because I want to seeing this different style of zombies is gonna be interesting to me and everything because I want to see what it does. But other than that, it was just like I'm not gonna trip about it really, and all and everything like that. It's like I got my fix. I understand what's going on to get us started and all that stuff, and I'm jumping into multiplayer with some fun. Hopefully, and like we'll see what happens there and everything. I'm not gonna make it a big issue and all that stuff at the end of the day, but it's neither here or there and all that stuff. But yeah, that is it. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think you should take if you're taking the campaign with serious of should there have been more? Should they provide more, put more into it? Hopefully this is what they learn from that and all that stuff. And the amplification of this was just I just feel like this is just amplified way more than I thought it would be and all that stuff. And I don't know if that's for the fact because it's like Call of Duty's now under Microsoft now and everything like that, and this is what led to this because like I think if I just saw what the Call of Duty community side said of it, I think I'll be fine. Like, and we didn't get this other stuff, but at the same time, it's just like it's the campaign for what it is. It didn't provide what to most people or whoever. It didn't provide what they want based off from the missions and everything, and that's totally fine. I think like from a collective of Call of Duty, hopefully this will learn from this. I think the one thing about this that some people don't know that this is led by Sledgehammer Games for this title. Infinity Ward had input on the campaign side of things, so I don't know if the fact of like maybe they're like since this is mainly the story in particularly for Modern Warfare and this version of it has been mostly led by Infinity Ward, so it's like I don't know if it was just like they were like Infinity War was like talk when Sledgehammer and Infinity War were working on this. Infinity War were like, well, we can only let's do a certain few things and all that stuff and hold this off for the next one for their for when they do the next Call of Duty title and everything. So it's like I don't know if there was that into that and everything like that. They didn't want to give Sledgehammer free reign on the story in particularly. I could be wrong on that, but I don't know. I can't. Like I said, I don't take the campaigns that seriously because it's more of just I'm getting in, I'm playing it, and the fact that they're providing this early access option when you pre-order it digitally, I can get it out the way now. That way, I don't have to worry about it when on official launch when I can actually focus on the multiplayer now. But I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. Tell me. But if you here's the thing. If you're playing multiplayer, get it. You're gonna end up getting it no matter what, and all that stuff. If you're not planning on getting this because you're behind the whole $70 DLC discussion about that, just don't buy it and all that stuff, and then wait till Warzone comes out in December. Because and all that stuff, because you're gonna unless you like no, I want to get my levels up, then buy the game and all that stuff. Here's the thing. Hopefully in the future, maybe since now we're under this new regime under Microsoft, maybe there's a chance now that where if they keep it yearly, biannual on releases and everything like that, what they decide to do, they make the campaign more of a separate purchase and everything, and they drop the price on the multiplayer stuff. We'll see what happens. Like if you want to know more about the campaign on the story of what's going on now, of whatever we're going into, you can pay it for $20 to $30 for the campaign and all that stuff, and then for the multiplayer suite for the new maps and everything like that, pay $40 to $50. Because most likely what they'll do, depending on what the game is, so we'll do Modern Warfare 3 for example. Campaign's $20 to $30 and everything. You can buy that if you want, optional. For multiplayer and zombies, they're probably gonna keep those together and all that stuff, and they're probably gonna have you pay like $30 to $50 and all that stuff. And of course, if you want to do all together, $70 by itself, $70 for all three modes, and then of course they'll have their Vault Edition where you can get get all three modes and the extra content such as like the Season 1 Battle Pass, Black Cell Battle Pass, whatever they add into it and all that stuff. And also, I think honestly, it's like I'm surprised they haven't thought of that even before the Microsoft deal, and all stuff. That way, it probably will cut pricing. It'll probably hurt their numbers sell wise for revenue and everything. But I think it should somewhat maybe offset it. I don't know, and everything like that. It's like it's a lot of options and all that stuff. I think that's probably why they keep it to a standard mode and the Vault Edition, two separate things, SKUs. That way you could choose which one you want. But it's either I don't know. I don't know how businesses work like that to be all. No, we can't do this way and all that stuff to providing more options and everything like that. When I think providing more options should help. Well, I don't know. And everything. I don't know how they think of their customers and all that stuff, especially like whether it is the hardcore or the casuals and all that stuff. I see like for me, it's like I could see where you can do campaigns. You can split them up where the campaign can be separate, and then you still have multiplayer and whatever the co-op is going to be, whether it be like a Spec Ops or zombies and all that stuff, depending on what it is. And those two are together as a bundle and everything, and you have those at separate prices, or you can do all three for the $70, and then of course there'll be the Vault Edition for $100, which gives the extra content and all that stuff. Whether you pre-order, I think the pre-order options should still be the same for even if you do them So like if you do, okay, the pre-orders would work if you're doing like the multiplayer edition, multiplayer pack, the full package, or the Vault edition. So like the skins and the operators and skins that come with it, those will be for those versions. But if you're getting the campaign, you don't get that stuff unless they make it for the fact like you can pre-order this story part and you get the campaigns and you get the operators and the skins for Warzone when that comes out. I don't know. It's weird and all that stuff. It is so weird. But hey, it is what it is. But other than that, that is it for the podcast today. Thank you guys for hearing this out and everything like that, and listening to everything. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week, where I dive deep into the multiplayer. Hopefully, I can give my full thoughts on Alan Wake 2, maybe, or whatever comes in news wise between now and then. We'll probably talk about that and everything. But again, this is the Untitled Gaming Podcast, where we're here every Saturday here on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music for our audio listeners there and everything. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube and everything like that, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel for any more content that comes out. Drop in the comments below of what do you think of anything that we've talked about, whether it be your thoughts on Alan Wake 2, no spoilers, in particularly. How do you feel about Fortnite? What are your thoughts? What is your deal with Call of Duty and how they should like distribute the game now? Because it's going to be, I think it is more different now, and I'll probably get into that more on next week's episode about the whole platform thing, because that's a whole other thing in particular. But let us know on our thing. Spotify, if you're listening to this on Spotify, if you're listening on our audio services, drop a rating and everything like that. Let us know what you think about that stuff. The ratings help us out a lot. Even dropping likes on YouTube help us out a lot to get us out there, to get us noticed, put us into the algorithm of things and all that stuff. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a good time. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good day. Peace.